morning, Columbine Unity. It is such a blessing to be here. And I feel so filled up after this weekend at the women's retreat. It was just such a wonderful presence of souls, and we did so much work, and it was just such a beautiful time. And I thought that I was leaving Missoula, Montana to come here to get out of the smoke, only to find that your smoke is worse than ours in Montana. So let's just pray for rain on all the fires in the West and hold that, knowing that that is in divine order. Can I have the first slide, please? Do you see sin? I don't see sin anywhere there. And for any of us that have held a newborn infant, we know that you cannot look into the eyes of that beautiful child and see sin at all. And I know that you are in this wonderful series with your book from Eric Butterworth, Discover the Power Within You. And this is the second week, so this is really fun. And Eric would agree that there is no sin in these children. Because this idea of original sin that has grown within the Christian idea really is a construct that came out of the 4th century from Augustine. Now, when I was at Iliff, I had to painfully take 15 weeks of Augustine. And I mean, it was painful. But he wrote this book called Confessions, and in it he kind of rethought this whole idea of the fall and Adam and Eve, and through that, the idea of original sin stuck. The idea that we are born stained and we have to work all of our lives in order to redeem ourselves is a construct. And when we eliminate that, when we wash that away, when we release that whole idea, we realize the truth of who we are. In New Thought, it is so freeing. I know when people come into New Thought the first time, they think, wow, these ideas are so new and they're so different, because we don't hold this idea of original sin. We hold the idea that all of us are born good and pure and beautiful, just as those children that you saw on the screen. We have that divine DNA deep within us. It was blown into our nostrils by the pneuma, the breath of God. And so, knowing that we are divine, knowing that we are children of God, gives us a whole new shift in perspective, doesn't it? And we can begin to see good everywhere, even when good doesn't look like it is. You know, it's really an interesting thing, because we come into this world like those children, pure, filled with love, innocent. And then along the way, as we grow and we grow and grow and grow, we are taught things. We are told things, both true and untrue, about ourselves. And we experience things, both good things and bad things in our life. And through all of those experiences that we gather, by the time that we're an adult, we've got a lot of baggage and garbage in our subconscious mind, don't we? We hold on to a lot of things that are not true about ourselves. Yesterday, at the women's retreat, we worked on our body image, and it was so freeing for so many of us. Could I have that next slide, please? And because we fall into this forgetting, we fall into a way. And really, in the ancient Hebrew, that's what sin means. It means missing the mark or falling away. And so we fall away because we get so busy, right? We get so distracted, and we hear so much negativity all the time. And what we really want to do is to find our way back, find our way in to who we are, and then to celebrate that every single day. But it's hard for us. It's hard for us. We get glimpses of it sometimes. We get glimpses of our truth. Most of the time when we're walking in nature, we go, oh, we feel God's presence everywhere. Or like this morning, listening to Marcy, how can you not feel God's presence? So how can we remember this good? Let me ask you, how many of you have ever felt guilty or shame around something that you have done? All of us, right? How many of you have felt broken? Literally broken. And how is it that we find our way back into healing and knowing? How many of you have heard of the Japanese art called wabi-sabi or kintsugi? A few of you. It is a beautiful ideal and philosophy. And what it is the Japanese take broken ceramics and they fill in the cracks with gold or the chips with gold. And they take something that is broken and they put it back together and make it something new. And that's what happens to us through our healing processes. Life is hard and it's messy sometimes. And when a tsunami hits us, it can just bring us to our knees. There's so many things out there that can break our hearts. We can receive an awful diagnosis on our health. We might have been sexually abused. We might have been, in a horrible divorce. We might have had someone suddenly die in our life. When you think of all the things that happen to all of us together, it is really quite remarkable that we can find our way back to being whole again. Now, I know the tsunami well. I remember the day I received the phone call from the Denver's coroner office that told me that my husband Ken had been deceased. All I remember is dropping that phone on the floor and falling down after it, feeling like I was a broken piece of ceramic, just shattered everywhere. And the coroner was talking, and I heard not a word that she said. And in that moment, I said, how am I going to put myself back together again? And I know many of you have had that exact same feeling. How am I going to put myself back together again? How is it that I heal? The story of wabi-sabi is very interesting. They say that 700 years ago, there was a Zen tea master, and he had this favorite teacup, and it had a crack in it. And he was out traveling, so he sent his teacup back to China to have it repaired. And when the teacup returned to him, it came back with these ugly staples in it. And he said, well, it's functional, I can use this teacup, but there must be a better way. So he went out and he found a craftsman, and he said, please make this more beautiful. And so the cup was finally returned to him, and the craftsman had repaired all those cracks with gold. You want to show those pictures? Knowing that we can be repaired. Knowing that we will not be repaired the same way that we were, but we will be beautiful in a new way. Isn't that the most exciting thing? So the process of healing is very difficult, and it takes work. Our transformation does not just happen by saying, okay, heal me. It takes work. If you've ever known anyone who's been through cancer, or who's had a stroke, or who's had a broken bone severely, you know that rehab is work. I had my right knee replaced in January, and yeah, I love it. And I had to work to get it back, to rebuild my muscles. We are asked every single day to work at our own healing, at our own transformation, at remembering our divinity, remembering that we are in the fullness of the presence all the time. Did you put up that slide, please? I think it's the wabi-sabi slide. The one after that. Now that one, well, we can use this one. Think about that. Nothing lasts. Nothing is finished, and nothing is perfect. The whole philosophy of Buddhism is the impermanence of life. Change happens to us all the time. Our bodies won't be here forever. They will perish, as is the world around us. The earth has been changing for millions of years. The universe changes. How are we at accepting that change? And as long as we are here, we are asked to continue to grow and evolve. And can anybody say that they're perfect yet? How wonderful would that be, right? My work is done. I don't have to do it anymore. I can just be. I'm ready to ascend. No, that's not how humankind was made. We are made to search for God. We are made to desire the presence. We are asked to work for our healing, to want it. I think there's a Butterworth slide. Thank you. Oh, that's okay. All right. Well, you know, I'm kind of just like moving. Nope, that one was good. Father Richard Rohr. I'm used to having my own clicker, you know. I can control it. Anyway, Father Richard Rohr, who I know that you've heard quotes from many times from the Center of Action and Contemplation in New Mexico, he says, we are always being invited to awaken to our true nature as spiritual beings, energy sharers, and prophets of potential. Now, don't you love that? We are energy sharers. And I want to be a prophet of potential. Right? I just think I love that. I want to be a prophet of potential. What are you? I'm a prophet of potential. I'm a work in progress. We are all a work in progress. And we are all beautiful. And it's our cracks and our chips and our flaws that make us beautiful. Kintsugi means golden joinery. And when I think about that, I think about how our very being is joined with the divine DNA, that God within. And so when we need healing, we call upon that golden joinery to work and fill us up and fill in every one of our imperfections, our cracks, our chips, so that we are made new. I worked hard after the death of my husband at my healing. I am not the same person that I was 4 years ago. As a matter of fact, my spiritual coach, every single session, would always ask me, so who is Susan? Who is Susan? I had to rediscover who Susan was. And that's what we do. We rediscover who we are. And we begin to love ourselves in our imperfections, with our cracks. And that is called wholeness. We are whole and holy and divine. I liken it to a car accident. So think about it. You're driving down the road. You get hit by a car. Now, you're not hurt. Hit by a car. The first thing that you do is you call the insurance agent. You go, oh, I got hit, and I need my car fixed. They go, okay, take your car over to Bob's. Bob will fix you up. Take your car over to Bob's and you leave it there, and you might see it a few weeks from now, maybe a month from now. When you get your car back, you go, oh, look at it. It's all repaired. It's shiny again. It's beautiful. And what you don't see are the new parts that were put in underneath or the bonding that was put in underneath. All you see is that fresh new paint. Let us begin to see ourselves like that every day when we wake up. A fresh new coat of paint on us. Knowing that all the time that golden joinery is moving in us and flowing through us. Can I have the sunflower slide, please? My boyfriend calls it stored sunshine. Right, stored sunshine. So that is our insurance agent. It's the faith that we have within. And he uses it as a gratitude practice. So every day he's so grateful for his health, his life, nature, what he has in this moment. So that when the tsunami hits, you are filled up with that light. And it just shines out back and forth to you. Give me that last quote, please. Father Richard Rohr says this: knowing our true identity as sons and daughters of God can save us thousands of dollars in psychotherapy. Don't you love that? And knowing that everyone else is a child of God and treating them as such can save our world. Do you know what I believe? I believe our experiences are meant. And even as painful as they are when we go through them, they are a blessing for us. And when we finish our healing process, when we get to that point where we say, oh, I feel whole again, it is up to us to help someone else. Share what we have learned. Share our experience and help them heal. Help them see that their cracks are beautiful. Help them see that their cracks can be filled with the light of God. So if you ever break a ceramic in your house, go to Hobby Lobby or Michael's. They have the stuff you can fill it with. Put it back together. Make it something different and something new. And then set it somewhere to remind you of your new beauty every single day. And that everything that we learn and we gather in life is only something to make us shine brighter. And then when you're done looking at that, pass it on to someone else who might need that. Hand it over to someone who might need to be reminded of their imperfections and how perfect they really are. Healing comes for all of us. And so for any of you out there today that need healing, know that the power is in you to heal. If you need help, ask for help. Know that that divine presence is working in you always. Never, ever forget that. I know when we're in the midst of it, we can't see it. But the truth is always there because God is always there, forgiveness is always there, and love is always there. So thank you. Thank you so much. Bless you all. Namaste.